In Season 1, Episode 6 of A Game of Thrones, Robert Baratheon leads a retinue through the Kingswood in the hunt for a great boar. Deep in his cups and a spear in his hand, Robert can't help but to think back on the good old days and take a trip down memory lane.
One girl from each of the 7 kingdoms and the Riverlands. We used to call it making the 8.
Those were some lucky girls.
You ever make the 8, Barristan?
And I believe so, Your Grace.
Those were the days.
In my most recent rewatch of Game of Thrones Season 1, when watching that scene there with Robert, instantly it stood out to me that the number and the geography and really just the historical accuracy of that line just didn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so I just want to make sure here that we're all on the same page and we understand what Robert is telling us the criteria is for making the 8. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly summarize what he said. I'm not going to do it verbatim in Bobby Baratheon tongue, so just bear with me here. I'm not going to explain it the way he does. If you want to go out there and check the clip, you can go out there and check the full clip. But essentially what he says is that you are not considered a man until you had a romantic relationship with a woman from each of the 7 kingdoms and the Riverlands. The "and the Riverlands" part does not make any sense to me. Okay, why is that? Well, that's because the Riverlands are one of the 7 kingdoms. Okay, so it was in this moment here that I thought that it would be best if we went and did our math and fact-checked our good buddy Bobby Baratheon, the first of his name, to really get to the bottom of making the 8. Okay, let's turn our attention here to this map of Westeros, where we're going to quickly identify the 7 kingdoms of Westeros, plus 2 additional domains that are important to bring up for the sake of this video as we try to understand making the 8. Okay, does that make sense? Should it be called something else, or should there just simply be a different number? Okay, so I'm going to start at the top, end at the bottom. So let's turn our third eye now to the light gray area there, that large mass of land. That is the north, or the Crone's Head, right? You can totally use that if you want. All right, we got a gaping mouth there, we got eyes, a nose, and potentially a hat. But let's just forget that I said that and just remember that that is kingdom number 1, the north. Kingdom number 2 is just below it there to the right. It's the light blue area. That is the Vale of Arryn. Kingdom number 3 is the purple area to the left of that. Those are the Riverlands, okay? Now, let's not forget the Riverlands. We're going to come back to them because they were singled out by Robert in that line from the show. To the left of the Riverlands, that red area there, are the Westerlands, okay? The Lannisters being the liege lords there. That is kingdom number 4. Kingdom number 5 is the green area below that. That is the Reach and the Tyrells being the liege lords of that particular area. Kingdom number 6 is the yellow area to the right of that, and that would be the Stormlands, home of Storm's End and House Baratheon. The 7th kingdom, all the way there at the bottom, is the orange area, and that is Dorne, the home of House Martell. All right, so back to Robert's line in regards to making the 8. Okay, someone from the 7 kingdoms and the Riverlands. The Riverlands are one of the 7 kingdoms, so that right there just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what other area or domain he's including in that 7 that would bump the Riverlands out and make them number 8, but it's inaccurate, okay? So this is where I want to bring up the other domains. If we look to the west of the Westerlands and the Riverlands, you see those islands right there. Those are the Iron Islands. That is the home of House Greyjoy, okay? Now, look, they do not belong to the north. They do not belong to the Riverlands or the Westerlands. They are their own entity. If we go to the east part of the continent here and look at that red area that's highlighted, those are the Crownlands. The Crownlands are also, just like the Iron Islands, not one of the 7 kingdoms. They are this additional domain or entity, whatever you want to call it. They roll up directly to the Iron Throne. Okay, the Crownlands, whether it's House Stokeworth or Rosby, you name it, okay? They roll up directly to the Iron Throne. There is no Stark or Baratheon or Tyrell middle management that they roll up to before the king, okay? They're sworn directly to the throne. They answer directly to the throne. None of the other liege lords that they are adjacent to. Okay, so now it's just time to do some simple math, and trust me, by no means am I a man of mathematics. I am very much a moron. Okay, but even I can figure this out here. Now, granted, I'm not deep in my cups like Bobby was there in the middle of the Kingswood looking for a boar and just reminiscing on the good old days. But again, this isn't tough, guys, okay? So we have the 7 kingdoms that we just brought up, plus we have the 2 additional domains being the Iron Islands and then the Crownlands. Now that we've broken that all down, we have to ask ourselves the very simple question of, does making the 8 make any sense? And the short answer is no. Okay. The long answer is, look, we've already identified the 7 kingdoms. And again, this is already correcting Robert, who was, again, I get it, very deep in his cups. Again, geography and maps, probably, he probably wasn't front of the class on that stuff. Again, I get it. But he is also the king of these 7 kingdoms. He should probably know that the Riverlands are one of the 7 kingdoms. Okay. I still would love to know what area bumped the Riverlands out and made them the 8, not one of the 7 kingdoms. But again, we identified the 7 kingdoms there, plus 2 additional domains. So what would make more sense would be if making the 8 was the 7 kingdoms, which the Riverlands are one of them, and the Iron Islands, or the 7 kingdoms and the Crown Lands. What would make the most sense of all is if it was called making the 9. The 7 kingdoms from the north all the way down to Dorne, and the Iron Islands, and the Crown Lands. I really doubt that a man with the reputation of Robert Baratheon would quiver at that challenge. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Robert's making the 8 comment. Again, was a man just simply too deep in his cups with a boar on his brain and a wineskin in one hand and a spear in the other? And he just simply forgot that the Riverlands are one of the 7 kingdoms. And again, he messed the whole entire story up. Or was the Grand Maester of Lore simply absent from the writer's room when they wrote this 6th episode in season 1 of Game of Thrones? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Please consider liking this video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.